Let me quickly drop this. I read a lot of people, making comments, and even a brother called me yesterday night because of the responses of Ebel Damina, to the pastors who have attacked his stance on some things that he preaches. And notably, we are those that talked about tithe. And I don't even understand why somebody who claimed to have been watching my video would think that I am siding any of the pastors I played their videos that responded to, or that Ebel Damina responded to. I don't understand how people comprehend things. I only piled up those things in order to make a point that he is quick to respond to every reference made to his messages, even when his name was not mentioned. But there was a person who mentioned his name. He called his name, but Abel has not responded to that. And I was using that to talk on lifestyle, because he said lifestyle must not be judged. Is that the reason why he has refused to, answer to that person, since he's good at answering, responding to the points? Now, this video has nothing to do with Ebel Damina, but I just have to put that straight. All right. It is unthinkable that somebody will think that I am in support of, charlatanism, when I have also made videos condemning the way people manipulate people to collect money from them. It doesn't make sense now. It doesn't add up. At the end of the day, some of you are accusing me of hating Damina, but it is you that are hating on me, because I have my liberty to disagree with Damina on the things that I think he is putting out of order. So it is your hatred that makes you think I am biased when it comes to Damina. I don't know why I should be biased on Damina. If all pastors are thinking that he's spoiling business for them, what is my own there? What is my business, with tight or not tight? But if you are a sincere follower of my channel and you are a member of the community, well, anyway, I shouldn't even be wasting my time, because those of you who say that I am biased, you are strangers. You're not part of our community. Because if you're a member of this community, you would know the areas I have vehemently disagreed with Ebel Damina, and I won't back down, because that is what the Bible said. Thank you, and God bless you. Welcome to the End Time Truth Television. Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. How are you doing today? God bless you. I bring you greetings in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ. There are some short videos I want to show you, and I think I will allow those videos to play. It is videos that have to do with stories of great things done, or great wonders performed through, by God, through some ministers who have gone home to, who have slept in the Lord. Let me use that rather. And as they were telling this story, Apostle Michael Orokpo and the Reverend Kesiena Esiri, in telling the stories, somebody who seemed to be more familiar with the stories came under the threats of the video and made comments that those guys were telling lies. Part of the stories, Reverend Kesiena was talking about George Muller, and the person who actually disputed this story is not, somebody you can just push aside. He is the man, the author of God's Generals, in the person of Liardon. Now, he refuted and debunked the stories, both the ones told by Michael Orokpo about Kathryn Khulman and the death of Kenneth Hagin rather. Now, Kenneth Hagin, we are going to also look at the video, the children telling us exactly how their father died, and that we're going to see if it matches with the stories that Michael Orokpo told about the man's death. One thing is certain, that is either their source is wrong, or somebody is lying. Now, at the end of it, also, we're going to look at the stories that were also one of the stories told by Archbishop Benson Idahosa when he was alive here on earth. Now, first and foremost, let us listen to Michael Orokpo talk about Kathryn Khulman.
You are welcome to the End Time Truth Television, the channel for the lovers of truth, for the truth of the end time. So if you are a lover of truth, give us a subscription, and God bless you. Shalom.
was going through the chronicles of Kathryn Khulman, and I saw something that shook me. When Kathryn Khulman organizes her crusades, they bring doctors and they bring news agencies to come and prove that the miracles were fake. They are not coming to worship God. When somebody claims he's sick, they do a test before the meeting, and when the person claims he's healed, they do another test. So every testimony she brings to the altar, if she tries it, they will take it to the doctor to prove. They wanted to show that this woman was a liar. But there was something she knew. Those who were close to her said, before she goes for a meeting, she will pray in tongues for 18 hours. She will pace the floor, moving without sitting, 18 hours. If she's able to complete that cycle of 18 hours, the glory will fall on her. And if that thing rests on her, it's over. If she goes into that meeting, if you like 1,000 of you to come, God will touch people. A point came, she now decided to organize a meeting for only cripples. Since you people think what we are doing here is picking people at random, and you find people like that in all generations, both men and women. You speak of Kathryn Khulman, you speak of Amy Sempe McPherson, you speak of Maria Woodward Etta, and they are like that.
I wouldn't know how, Robert Liardon came in contact, with this video, and the whole of them, the three of them, happens to be in the same channel. So he saw one and saw two and saw three, and then decided to make his own voice heard through writing. So he wrote under this video and said, you can see that it is his official social media handle. Please stop telling stories wrong. It sounds like you are not well read, or you just make it up. It is dishonoring to these generals of God. It will cause people to not trust/believe anything you say. Teach the Bible and leave the stories to the people who know the facts, or who have the facts. Hope you can hear my heart for you in this comment. Now, for me, I want to believe that this is a honest, counsel from somebody who is sincere and who is sincerely concerned. Now, to some of you, Michael Orokpo, we speak, and like our character, our manner is, many people will be angry. How is he talking? How dare he speak to an apostle like this? Now, because you believe that the apostle actually cannot lie, and you want to take his own word more than what Robert Liardon is saying. Now, we're going to look at this. I'm not saying that Orokpo lied and that he was caught. But then if you actually look, if you feel the comment, the content of the comment, you see that the man was not actually trying to disgrace Michael Orokpo. When he closed by, I hope you can hear my heart for you in this comment. What is that heart? That if he continues this way, people will stop believing whatever he says. And that would be a very big concern. But I really don't think that, people should think that Orokpo is intentionally trying to deceive them. We're going to look at that. Now, the second video here, I want to bring you also the story of Reverend Kesiena Rebuked, that he talked about George Muller and what Liardon said under it as well. Listen to Reverend Kesiena.
George Muller, I read his biography and I went to ask God, you are partial. He said he prayed prayers. None of his prayers were unanswered. None. He never prayed a prayer that did not receive an answer. None. George Muller, none. They come and tell him, there's no bread. What are the boys going to eat? He says, put the plates on the table. Bread is coming. Before they can say Jack Robinson, the baker, the village baker or the city baker arrives at the door and says, God will not give me rest. And he brought bread. They said, but are we going to eat dry bread? What about sardine? And he says, don't worry. The milkman in the city is driving back. An angel went and removed the wheel of the truck. The truck now breaks right in front of the orphanage. It breaks down there. While the man is struggling with the wheel, the Lord tells him the milk is for that place. He goes and carries the milk inside. You have denied Jesus in your heart many times because you didn't have money. You don't know that there's a realm. There's a realm. You see, brethren, these are the kind of things I pray for. Many times I've told the Lord, I'm still walking not because I'm afraid that you can't take care of me, but because you have not told me it's time. This is the way I want to live, Kesiena. This is the way I want my story to be told. That anytime I wanted anything, God sent it. That's the kind of story I want to tell. When you know the capacity you have, you can't steal your company's money. You will not sleep with a boy because he wants to give you recharge card or he wants to pay your school fees. You hear Christian guys say, it's only my mother taking care of her. He suffer. Auntie, I know people, at least I'm in a higher institution, that's where I lecture. They will rather drop out of school than sell their body. They will rather go and plait hair. But we have people who are speaking in tongues. Little pressure, they cave.
So without wasting much of your time, the same man came under this video again and said, this is not true. Please get your story correct. This is not true. Please get your story correct. Now, somehow you begin to think, who do we believe? Of course, this is a person that is speaking from the part of the world where these ministers lived, where they lived in, and compared to us who are on this side of the divide. Now, but then the confusion here is, where is the mix-up coming from? Because somebody actually responded to at Robert's Liardon, Olashimoju said, at Robert's Liardon on the official, this was written in the autobiography of George Muller. If you say that is not true, please avail the material that will corroborate yours. This was written in the autobiography of George Muller. So I've not read the autobiography of George Muller, and if you have, please avail us with the content if this agrees with what was written there. Now, so if truly that what Reverend Kesiena said is contained in the autobiography of George Muller, then it becomes more confusing. But at the same time, we're also going to look at it. You know, information is powerful. Information can liberate and information can mislead. Information can also lead to one's destruction, depending on who your source of information is. So if Liardon is saying that it's a lie, and this person said he has read the same story in the autobiography of George Muller. You see, I also found some YouTubers who have made videos to discredit the claims of these people. So I do not know if Liardon is coming from that, school of thought that these people told stories that were not true about themselves, because of the world we're living in now. A lot of persons don't have faith, don't believe in the stories of faith. And there are so many of us also who are condemning this kind of storytelling. And I don't know how you see it, but I don't think that it will completely be right to say stop telling stories of the miracles of God's dealings, how God dealt with men. Bear one thing in mind, that the 2 videos you have watched already, none of these ministers told the stories about themselves. So if they were to be telling stories about themselves and somebody came on board to contradict what they're saying, then we'll begin to look at them again, even though, yes, we're looking at them now. But what will it profit them to tell it stories of other persons that doesn't have anything to do with them, and they lied about it? So anyway, we'll go to the 3rd video, then I will have to say what I have to say, then we'll watch other videos. The 3rd video here is that of the death of Kenneth Hagin, told by Apostle Michael Orokpo.
When Kenneth Hagin died, they couldn't touch his body. The glory that carried him to heaven, the residue that was on the body, nobody could touch him. They had to invite his friends to gather around him to pray for a while to absorb the glory before ordinary men could carry Kenneth Hagin. You touch him, you go down. Touch him, you go down. They couldn't attend to the body. They had to bring men that have rank in the spirit, who can interact with glory, to surround him in prayer, to be able to absorb what came. A man has finished his assignment, over 80, died after serving God for more than 70 years. There was still deposit of power that they couldn't carry his body. Something is wrong with our generation. Something is wrong. We need to wake up. We celebrate nothing. We are too excited.
Again, Liardon also said, this is not true. And then somebody asked him, Olawumi Abraham said, thank you for this, Dr. Liardon. And birthday dating said, can you please explain? Then he responded by saying, everything said about Hagin death here is not true. Everything is not true. And so now, before I play you the other video, now we'll come to the question. Now I was asking, who does this lie benefit? And who is the source of the lies? Now, I have made this statement before that some of our preachers, pick up stories or teachings from persons that they trust or they like, they follow, and without cross-checking. And it is almost normal and natural with us because we believe these persons cannot mislead us. We believe that they are saying the truth. So we go ahead with whatever they have told us in the past, and we present it. Sometimes we even present them as if we have the first-hand information. All right. While we were growing up, that means that this story has been a long-term thing, because I know as a little kid, I heard BRG tell the story again. We were told the story of how Nigeria played India, and Nigeria scored only 1 goal in that match, but India scored either 99 goals or 100 goals because, they did juju, they did magic, that every shot that the Indians would play, some say it will turn to the bunch of palm nuts with the piercing thorns on it. Some say the football will turn to fire. So it's only the goalkeeper that will be seeing it. Every other person on the field or around in the stadium will only see normal football. And at the end of the day, the Indians score 100 goals. But then the other version of the story had it that eventually it was investigated that it was just that 1 goal that Nigeria scored that FIFA approved, and that was why India was banned from participating in FIFA organized competitions. Now, they told us that stories, and we carried it, and everybody was telling the story. Everybody was telling the story. Everybody told the story. Now, but then, is it true? It's not true, because I don't even think that Nigeria has ever played a match. I've not searched, but I don't think Nigeria has ever had any match, any football match that they played against India. But then we all carried it and we retold the story. If I had told it to my own children now, they will also carry it into their own generation. But trust me, the story is still alive amongst kids in the village. They are still telling it and telling it to themselves. So that is how these things happen. Now, like we were saying in the issue of George Muller, somebody said he read the same thing that Kesiena Esiri was saying. That means now we need to find out who lied. Was it the one that compiled the autobiography of George Muller that lied, or that Liardon is not also so sure about what he's saying, but maybe because it's coming from a source he probably does not know, now he is discrediting it. But of course, he seems to be a custodian of these stories, because it is these stories that he compiles in his books, The God's Generals. It is this kind of stories that he compiles, and I want to believe that he has access to the family members of these men that he has written about in his books. So who do we trust now? Who do we believe? Well, that is it. Now, the thing I am thinking, and I believe that since these stories was not told by these men about themselves, now this might be an innocent error. This is an error. And why I'm saying this is that it will not be fair to think that they are just blatantly telling lies. No, it does not fetch them anything now. It does not add anything to them. They were not telling the stories about themselves. They were telling stories based on the information that they got, and somebody had the boldness to call them out and say, this is not true. So the issue about the death of Hagin, actually, from the video I want to show you now, proves that Liardon was right and correct, that there was nothing like that. That was so much exaggeration, and I wouldn't know where Michael Orokpo got his own information from.
How did he die? Well, here's the story as it was reported at the time. Hagin went to bed last Saturday feeling well, according to a news release from his ministry. He sat at the breakfast table Sunday morning and smiled at his wife Oretha. Then he sighed and his head fell to his chest. He felt fine when he went to bed, and as I recall, there were a couple of friends visiting with him and his wife that morning when he passed. In the next video clip from the memorial service, you'll hear his daughter Pat talk about the fact that he died the day he collapsed, and that the hospital only managed to keep his organs working.
Because only his body was there, not him. The doctor came to me one day. He was such a precious doctor, so compassionate, with tears coming down his face. He said to me, he said, Pat, you know, your dad's soul, he called it his soul, left on Sunday. And I said, yes, sir, I do. And he said, you understand that all we did was revive the body. And he said, you understand that the body is created to live. So it's fighting for all that is within it to live. But your father is not here.
Now let's watch this next clip where Pastor Ken Hagin Jr. talks about the fact that his dad just went to sleep.
And he went home exactly the way he said he would go home. My sister and I and the whole family talked about it. He said that when he got ready to go, he'd sit down in a chair someday and go. He sat down in that chair. He ate a brunch. He looked at my mother and smiled, and he said, and he went, huh, and that was it. He didn't fall out of the chair. He didn't fall forward. He just sat there, looked like he was asleep, you know. And you that walked by could see that he had that peaceful expression on his face. The doctor told us, he says, he's not there. He said, people in deep comas, they do certain things that tell us that they're experiencing pain. He said he's done none of those.
I don't know where he got it from. But what I don't want to believe is that he will be telling lies like that, and these lies, like I was saying, would not fetch him anything. Since he was not telling about himself, you know, pointing people to himself. He was just trying, and all these stories are just, you know, geared towards one thing: to inspire people, to make people hunger and thirst for the presence of God and the power of God. Now, a lot of people are condemning these extra-biblical stories. Are they really extra-biblical stories? Well, some persons say that it's not necessary to tell these stories, that they should just make it simple. I agree that the gospel of Christ must be simple. It is simple and as simple enough. But is it entirely bad to tell stories, to give testimonies? Because these are not just stories, they are testimonies. Now, in my own thoughts, in my own school of thought, my own opinion, I don't think it is entirely bad. I don't think it is completely evil if the stories are real and verifiable. I was speaking with a man of God, and he made a statement that is true. The Bible is a storybook. The Bible is filled with stories of great things that God has done. And that God who did those things in the Bible, of course, is because we saw them written in the Bible, that we see people who aspire to want to replicate those things that God used men to do in the Bible. So when we read the stories about Prophet Elijah, Prophet Elisha, Prophet Samuel in the Bible, we read their stories and the prowess, the exploit that they made. How God used Moses, that Moses was almost a god, to the men around him, at that time. So these are stories that we are told. And even in the Acts of the Apostles, you see, then there is something that I also find out. People are beginning to lose faith. There are so many, people criticizing miracles on YouTube. Yes, because some pastors are faking miracles. But because there are people faking miracles, it doesn't actually mean that every other miracle is fake. Some persons say that miracles have passed, that it ended with the apostles and Christ. It is not true. So what I'm saying here is that it is not entirely right to say that people should not tell stories of great move of God or works of God that are true, which God did using a man. All right. So having said that, and from the video of the children of Kenneth Hagin that you have watched, Now, it is completely, in disagreement and disalignment with the story of Michael Orokpo. So we trash it, but it will not be right, like I said, to think or to accuse Michael of intentionally lying to mislead people. I want to believe he got his information from somewhere. Either he read it or and social media today, people can just wake up in the morning and write some nonsense and begin to post on WhatsApp. And that is why there are some posts I will receive from WhatsApp and somebody will ask me to share. I will delete it because I don't want to be part of the story. And eventually it will be found out to be lies. So I don't know where he got his information from, but the videos that you have watched of the son and the daughter of Kenneth Hagin, it is completely opposite of what Michael Orokpo said. And that takes me to the next video, the story that was told by Archbishop Benson Idahosa. Now, so many people also have taken it upon themselves to expose Archbishop Benson Idahosa. Now they are on YouTube. Some are scrutinizing the stories, the testimonies that he gave. But listen to this one.
Jimmy Swaggart may make mistakes. Jim Baker may make mistakes. Anybody can make mistakes. Jesus has not made mistakes. He's alive! He's alive! 3 years ago, Pastor, all the witches in the world met to hold their first conference. You know where they want to hold it? My city. And their chief host granted the network interview, said the first universal conference of witches and wizards is going to hold in. I said, where? They said, where I said, it's not true. Everybody says it's not true. I didn't hear you. One more time. And the press said, what is not true? I said, they can't. They said, what are you going to do? I said, I'm going to kill her. And they called the chief host and said, Dr. Idahosa said, you can't hold the meeting. He said, not even God. I'll bring you the newspaper. He said, not even God can stop it. And the press said, listen to what this man said, not even God. I said, he's correct. They said, he's correct. I said, they said, why? I said, because God shouldn't waste it. Everybody shout hallelujah! I said, God, do your business. Leave this one to me. I can handle this. And I said, how many are they? I said, 9,800. So I said, good. Everybody said, good. I love challenge because challenges are scaffolded to higher heights in faith. It's time for people to find who you are in Orlando. It's time for people to know that God put you here. If they cannot tell by your clapping, by your dancing, they can tell by your fire. Did you hear me? If they don't know whom you are because you sing in the choir, because you pay your tithe, they can know whom you are when you raise the dead. Everybody say, fire, come down. Fire, come down. Say, fire, come down. And the media men came to my house. They said, Dr. Idahosa, you are taking a risk. I said, what? They said, be careful. People who take charge don't take care. For my Bible said, be careful for nothing. For by prayers and supplication, make your request known. And they said, are you ready to face the camera to tell the whole nation what you are saying? And which I called this man. He called two of them. They brought. And the anchor man said, gentlemen, I don't want anyone to die. Chief host, are you really sure you are bringing 9,800 from all over the city? Dr. Idahosa, are you sure you are going to stop the meeting? I said, I'm not going to stop it. I've stopped it. I have stopped it. Are you ready? We want to grant you 1 hour to tell us how strong your God is. And you tell us how your witchcraft. He said, I'm ready, fine. But at the end of this program, you let me pray because I'm going to. And they brought us to the camera and they asked him. I said, they asked him, tell us how strong witches are. 27 from the old 6 or 7 book of Moses, from Egyptian books, from Israeli book, from British book, from magical book. And they said to me, did you hear him? They said, what do you say? I said, I have nothing to say. The meeting is. They said, what? And I opened my Bible. No divinations, no incantations shall stand the present. And I began to quote from Leviticus to the New Testament. And at the end, I said, how many minutes more? They said, 5. I said, it's time for me to kill them. I said, sir, just answer me one word. And I killed. Everybody began to. I said, say yes or no. You a wood no. Get up. If you say yes, I kill you. But if you are not, he said, I'm not. Stood up in the studio, network news. If you will. The next morning, he came to my office to collect a Bible. And they still met him. The media left us. And they still went to his house. With the meeting hold? Yes. 7 days more. 3 days more. With the meeting hold? Yes. And they came to me. Are you sure the meeting is cancelled? I said, no comment. If the meeting hold, I set fire in my Bible. It's cancelled. What I bind on earth is bound in heaven. And they said, what is your power? I said, my power is in the Bible. Whatsoever you lose on earth is loose in heaven. Whatsoever you bind on earth is bound in heaven. And they said, but 2 days more. They don't waste it. The next morning, I went to the president. And I said, I've told the whole nation, and you are aware, that there's no meeting of the week. Said, the day you will on, I sent telex to all the embassies in the world not to allow one wizard to come to Nigeria.
Okay, again, that was a story that was told by Archbishop Benson Idahosa of blessed memory. Now, that was a story told by him, not of another person, but of what God used him to do, because that was in a church setting. And he was trying to establish that, I cut off some part of the stories. But those are the stories he told in order to encourage the congregation listening to him that as God's people, God's children, God's servants, they have enormous authority over the kingdoms of darkness. Now, whether that is true or not, now, I know some persons will want to leave it up for debate, but the story has been there for, as much as I know, it should be more than 20 years old, that story there. And some of the institutions or organizations mentioned are still in existence. For instance, the Wish conference and the television station that he also cited. I don't know which president that was in power then, but it might be Babangida, right? And Babangida is still very much alive, even though he didn't mention the name of the president. But all I'm trying to say is that nobody has come out to controvert that story. Now, it is also possible for the Council of Wishes to come out and debunk it, that it is a lie in order to preserve their own image. But even as at now, to the best of my knowledge, nobody has come out to counter it. And the NTA, very much around still, in Nigeria, they've not come out to say that is not true. So to an extent, it is believable that that happens. But that it came from him, and he told the congregation there, and we're listening to it now, how the whole thing happened. Now, that tomorrow somebody may want to tell it and will amplify it in a different way that probably will be somehow exaggerated and not as exactly and as accurate as the owner of the story told the story. And when that is done, another generation will pick it up, another generation will pick it up. Before you know it, the thing will become extraordinarily magnified. So that probably may be what happened to some of the stories that Liardon, refuted and debunked, that those things were lies. But at the same time, I want to submit yet again that I do not think that these pastors were intentionally lying to mislead people, because that would be horrible, to use the pulpit at the lectern to pass information that are not true. Well, God bless you. Let's know what you think about the whole thing. I'll be signing out from here. From me to you. Shalom. Now, let me quickly